Hey, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Really, honestly, I don't think people are giving enough gratitude and enough thanks for people tuning into their content. They just kind of expect it because so many people are on these platforms. But I know there's a lot of information out there in the fitness, mind space, head space, motivation realm. So thanks for tuning in. As long as I get one view and one comment, even if it's a troll with a bad comment, hey, any press is good press. So thank you. Today, I want to talk about vices. We all got vices. I am not going to be judgy here because if you could see into my history and my background, oh boy, have I made some bad decisions in life and had some really bad habits. But that's what we're all trying to work on, right? And let's talk about that real quick. I think that one of the most difficult things is people, including me. Whenever I say people, I'm talking about me too, because I'm just a normal guy, just like you, and I want to support you, and I want you to be the best version of yourself, and I dang sure want me to be the best version of myself. So look, we're all trying to clean up the vices in our life, the smoking, the drinking, the bad eating, the staying up late, whatever it is. We're all trying to minimize those. Or like my dad says, everything in moderation, including moderation, meaning, look, if you want to have some beers and while out and it's a special occasion like your 10 or 20th wedding anniversary or retirement party or your best friend or family member is getting married, go for it. Your body is not going to punish you, nor are you never ever going to get gains anymore if you have one hard night out on the town. The problem is, and what I want to talk about in this video is that one night out in the town being a multiple day a week occasion for years on end. And I want to be transparent. So I want to start with myself so it doesn't feel like I'm preaching to you. Like I said, I had a lot of bad habits growing up. Um, at a very young age, I started smoking cigarettes and also drinking. And I'd be lying to you if I said that alcohol has been in my life more than I want it to be, and not in really in a bad way, but just starting drinking at an early age and partying. I'm from the South. That's just kind of what we do: tailgating, football, stuff like that. Drinking underage, going to bars. It's kind of a thing. And then when I joined the military, it's like the military is trying to get a handle on it, but at this point, at 22 years in the military, I'm an old salt. So when I came in, drinking was still really prevalent, and not just drinking with your friends. It was kind of like a rite of passage that your seniors, your bosses, used to kind of gauge who you were outside of the workplace. And honestly, like, is this guy cool? Is this somebody that I want to hang out with? Like, are they able to blow off some steam responsibly? And not cause any drama and still be a good worker. And I think that still exists today to some level. But when I say that I alcohol has been in my life more than I want it to be, what I mean is, and you tell me if this resonates with you, is man, if I only would have known in my 20s that the workouts that I was doing and the healthy food I was trying to eat, saying I was having a good diet, was absolutely being canceled out with the alcohol, because with alcohol comes something else, which is bad sleep. If you drink too much alcohol, you don't get into REM sleep. You don't get a deep sleep, a good night's sleep. You're probably sleeping less because you were drinking and partying later into the night. And so you have alcohol is poison, duh, obviously, but your body is only working on getting that poison out of your body. It's not working on muscle recovery or protein synthesis or anything like that. And so now looking back on it, I'm like, man, I could have been just like way bigger, like an absolute savage. But that's life, right? We all make mistakes. We're usually a little bit more dumb when we're younger. But I want you, and this is the main focus of this video, I want you to ask yourself honestly what your vices are and how they're affecting who you want to be as far as your mindset, motivation, and the way that you look physically. Because what I run into many times when when I'm training people, personal training, is they lie to me without knowing that they're lying, because it's easy for your mind to trick you into thinking um, that you are working out a lot or that your nutrition is on point when it's actually not. And here's how that happens: the client will know in their head that I should be working out 4 to 5 times a week for 45 minutes to an hour. And I should also be eating healthy stuff that's like in its most basic form. But when I ask them, how much fast food did you eat this week? How many sodas did you consume? How many alcoholic beverages did you consume? How many nights this week did you get 8 hours of sleep or 6 to 8 hours of sleep? And then all of a sudden the truth starts coming out, because then when you extrapolate that out over weeks and months, I kind of break people down right in front of me. And I do it for a good reason, not to make them feel terrible. I'm not in the business of motivating people through making them feel terrible. I do it because I'm a realist and I want them to go, dang, I didn't realize. And something I like to do is I like to go, hey, how much screen time are you like per day are you averaging? And they're like, I'm not really on social media that much or apps. So like I'm kind of screwing around on my phone, maybe like 30, 45 minutes. And I'm like, hey, the national average in the world is 2.5 hours. Why don't you break out your phone real quick and see what your phone tells you that on average? And they'll see 2.5, 3.5 hours. And that's not including like Google Maps and stuff, or if your kid's playing on your phone. That's just you mindlessly scrolling on your phone. And they're like, oh, dang. And the reason that I use that is because draws an instant parallel or a segue for me to talk about fitness and be like, your screen time is pretty much the same as what you think you're doing in the realm of being healthy. Like, you think you're eating healthy, you think you're crushing it in the gym, but I just asked you about your week, which wasn't that fantastic, to be honest with you. And now, what if I asked you about the quarter, like 4 months in a row? And if I really get deep down into it, which I do, and what clients pay me for, they're getting their money's worth, because I'm breaking down their life, because it's not just about the gym. Like, if any personal trainer is like, oh, you're working out 3 to 5 times a week, 45 minutes to an hour, you're good to go. Let's hit the floor. That's warning signs. Fire that person. Because what you need is somebody like me who's going to say, oh, so your birthday was on this day, then you crushed it for a week in the gym, but then you left town and you were at a wedding, which was a 3-day event where you didn't track your macros and partied every night for 3 nights. Then you came back. It took you another 2 days to catch up on work. And then so you worked out 3 days. Then the weekend came, and then you took your kids to the zoo, and then you went and caught a game, or you were watching Netflix on Sunday, and then the next week you really hit it hard. You hit it for 5 days a week, but then you had a work trip, and so on and so forth. And you start to see where it's inconsistent. It is way inconsistent. And that's the thing that people don't realize, is they're like, man, these pounds aren't coming off, or I'm not getting the gains that I want. And it's because you're inconsistent. And even after I break down your kind of life, which sounds mean, but I'll be like, hey, what app do you use to track your macros or track your food or your daily caloric intake? And they're like, oh, I kind of eyeball it. Like, I eat healthy, I eat salads. I'm like, whoa, like a problem number one right there, right? Because like we all know by now, salads are a huge trap at a restaurant, right? Because the dressing is going to kill you, the cheese is going to kill you, the croutons are going to kill you. Like, salads can be more unhealthy than like a pasta dish you were looking at, but opted for the salad because society has told you a salad's healthy, right? It's not. If you're listening to this and you're a salad person, like, watch what you're putting on your salad. It can add up real quick. You can easily get a 40 gram of fat salad, which is like way more than a hamburger. But if you're not tracking your food, and then you're not tracking how much you're working out, you're just winging it. And we all know what happens when you just wing it. When you just wing it in anything, yeah, you can get through it, but do you look back on that experience if when you're just winging it, whether it be like, oh, I had to give this speech at work, or I had to like give this, slide deck to a group of people and I didn't really plan it. I just kind of wung it. And afterwards you're like, wow, I'm glad that's over. Or you like a final exam, you're like, oh man, I actually partied more than I should have. So I just went in there and I winged it. And I hope I didn't fail. And instead of being like, yeah, man, I studied hard for like 2 weeks leading up to that. And I know I got a B, if not an A, right? And so, like, most people are winging it with their fitness. Most people are either in the crowd of they're not doing any fitness at all and they're just looking to like get their foot in the door literally into the gym and then they have no idea what they're doing and then they don't hire professional help and they quit. Or you think you know what you're doing, but when in reality, you're actually winging it. And let me give you an example. Let's say, let me let me turn the tables on you, and let's say you're a personal trainer and you have two people come up to you and one says, hey, I want to compete in a local CrossFit event. And the other person says, hey, I'm really in shape and I love to ride bikes and run and swim, but I've never put them all together. And I want to do a triathlon for the first time. Can you train me? What's going through your head right now? Obviously, different goals, but what are you saying from an actual science based background that these two individuals need to be trained on? Are you telling yourself, well, one of them needs to do more endurance stuff because they want to be a triathlete, so I'm going to just have them run all the time and do cardio all the time and swim? Like, what about muscle building? What about muscular endurance? Are you thinking about VO2 max? When you're thinking about the CrossFit athlete, are you thinking, well, how many events are they going to have? Is this a multiple day event or is this a 1 day event that's going to have multiple events within that day? And are they going to scale those workouts, or are they infinitely scalable to where they already know kind of where their weight stands, what they can lift on certain exercises? And are you thinking about heart rate zones? You need that triathlete to be in a heart rate zone where they're burning mostly fat. So they need to be somewhere in between like 130 to 145 beats per minute. So they're not tapping into glycogen stores, which those glycogen stores for the CrossFit athlete are going to be huge because they're quick, fast, expendable, and can give you a lot of energy and power, but they're not infinite. As to where a fat source in a certain heart rate is almost an infinite source of fuel. And so, how are you going to train them at those heart rate levels? And what kind of exercises are you going to do? And how are you going to monitor that heart rate through their workouts? Like, and I could go on and on and on and on. And I only know a little bit about working out. There's absolute like maniacs out there that have PhDs in this stuff. So what I'm telling you is like the average person going to the gym and they're like, I know how to bench press. I've been bench pressing since high school. And I know how to squat and I know how to use these machines. Like, of course, you know how to use the machines. They got the instructions on the side of them. But let me ask you this: if you got an Indy car into an Indy car or a NASCAR vehicle, and you were like, I know how to drive, I can race with these people. And then you get in an Indy car that does like 200 miles an hour, and you're driving through some city, like the race in Monaco where it's like blind S turns at 200 miles an hour and it's only like the size of a regular road and there's another car next to you and you're both going 200. Do you think that you're going to pull that off? No, you're going to crash and die. That's what's going to happen. I mean, I would love to try it, and that's the same thing with the gym, right? People walk into the gym and they're like, I know what I'm doing, dude. Fitness has been around forever. It's like, no, we're always learning new stuff about fitness. And the beauty of science is we're actually learning what not to do so we can make your time in the gym way more beneficial. So back to vices. Um, People are not taking stock of what they actually know in the gym and outside the gym, and they're not taking stock of their lifestyle choices as well. So I want to wrap this video up by asking you to do a quick deep dive when this video ends. It only takes 1 minute. I'm asking 1 minute of your time, a whole minute. I know that's a lot in today's society. But if you're not hitting your goals, take a quick inventory and be real with yourself and ask first, am I consistent? and that is inside the gym and in the kitchen. The gym is only 20 to 30% of the process. The kitchen is like 60, 70%, maybe even more. So it's like, am I tracking my food? If you're not tracking your food, I can tell you right now you're not consistent. If you're not tracking your workouts, I can tell you're not consistent. With the caveat that I don't really track my workouts because I've been working out for almost 25 years and I just know my body and I know what I'm doing and I can remember all the stuff in my head. I can tell you if you ask me any specific workout, any specific exercise, when you're like, how much did you lift last week on that? I could tell you the reps and sets and the weight, like right off the top of my head. I just know because I've been doing it forever. But if you haven't been doing it forever, you don't know. So if you're not tracking your nutrition, if you're not tracking your workouts, all you're doing, and this is the honest and painful truth that people want to hear, is you are maintaining. All you're doing is maintaining. And people always ask, well, why am I not super jacked? Why don't I have a six pack? Why am I not reaching my goals? But they never ask conversely, well, what would happen if I wasn't doing just the minuscule stuff that I was doing with not tracking my food, my macros, and not tracking my workouts? How much would I weigh? I'd probably be 5 or 10 pounds heavier. So instead of being thankful for where they're at in their maintenance stage with the haphazard workout and diet that they have, they're more cursing themselves and they're cursing their personal trainer and they're cursing whatever diet plan they bought on the internet saying, I'm not getting the results that I'm supposed to get. You gotta flip that mindset and think about, okay, well, at least I'm in a maintenance stage or a maintaining stage. My calories in equal my calories out. So I'm not in a deficit or a surplus. And so at least I'm not a fat ass. Right. And if you are carrying a couple extra pounds and you want to lose it, you have to know what a deficit is, which is you're taking in less calories than you're expending. But you don't know that unless you're tracking your food and tracking your workouts and know what your TDEE, your total daily energy expenditure is, how many calories you're burning. Look, this is simple elementary math. This is plus and minus signs. This isn't algebra or geometry or trigonometry. It's nothing crazy. Like, this is simple stuff, but people continue to complain that they're not getting the results when they will research the shit out of what toilet paper that they're going to buy next at Costco or Walmart and what toilet paper has the best reviews and how many people have bought this toilet paper on Amazon and research and the best price and all this stuff. And it's like, finally you get that toilet paper and it's just as soft as a baby's bottom. And you're like, yes, this is the best toilet paper ever. But then you go in the gym and you just wing it. Why? Why do you just wing it? And why do you lie to yourself, even if you don't know you're lying to yourself, saying, yeah, I'm healthy. I don't smoke as many cigarettes as I used to. We all know cigarettes are awful. Stop that. Alcohol, sure. Everything in moderation, including moderation. If you like one glass of wine or 2 glasses of wine during the week, every other day or every third day, fine. But 2 or 3 glasses of wine or a half bottle of wine or more every single day leading up to a weekend of partying is not fine. So you have to really ask yourself, hey, what did I get away with in my teenage years and my 20s? And now that I'm 30 or 40, I have those same habits and they're catching up to me because my body's not responding as well. So look, it's all about honesty. I know I sounded kind of like I threw the book at you, but here's the thing. The personal training industry and the fitness industry and the supplement industry, there's a lot of people that their only intention is money. So they're going to sell you whatever workout program they can. They're going to sell you whatever supplements they can, whether they work or not. They're going to sell you any kind of diet. They're going to sell you a gym membership because they don't have your best intentions in mind. Their financial bottom line is their goal. And so they're not going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. And if you do hire a personal trainer, which is another video I'll do, what to look for and what not to look for, if you don't feel a little uncomfortable, now, obviously, if they're an a-hole, don't hire them because you're not going to want to work with that person. But in the scenario I gave you earlier about the screen time and like, oh man, what did the last 3 months of my life look like? If you don't feel a little uncomfortable walking out there in the gut sense check, that like, oh, damn, that person just kind of exposed me and made me kind of rethink, like, how consistent am I? That's the person that you want to hire because they're not full of fluff. And people that are full of fluff are going to let you get on the floor too, and they're going to fluff you up on the floor saying, "Oh, yeah, that exercise looks great. You're making so much progress. I think I see some tries popping there, blah blah blah." And it's all going to be BS, and then you're not going to get any goal. You're not going to hit any of your goals. You're going to leave that trainer in 2 or 3 months, and they're going to cycle out to a new client. As long as that money's coming in, they're good to go, and you didn't make any gains. So be honest with yourself. Be honest with the vices that you have. Everything in moderation, including moderation. And remember, if you're just maintaining right now and you don't know what to do, it might be a good idea to seek professional help in the form of an actual doctor, which is not an out of shape doctor, by the way, a doctor that actually does fitness themselves, or go see a health and wellness expert that has some kind of credentials in physiology or kinesiology or sports science, and they can tell you if you're actually crushing it, which you think you are, and maybe you're not. See you on the next video.